everyone, we are back with another video, and today I am going to be doing a video that is long overdue. I meant to do this video at the very start of the year, but I just didn't get the time to, and I kept procrastinating it. So here I am in February, sitting down to finally film my top books to read in 2021. So this is a video that many booktubers have obviously done and do every year, and obviously I just wanted to do my take on it and talk about books that I would love to read this year. Like these, okay, so like it's basically anything, like the next book in a series, a book that I've been putting off reading for a long time. Like say it's a really big book and I felt intimidated by it for so long, and I'm like, no, I'm finally gonna read that now and just conquer my fear of how big it is. So that is kind of the basis for this video. Also, it's been like a little bit since I posted a video. I haven't posted one since, I think my last one was like midway through January. So hi there, I am still here making content. I just haven't had the time to film videos lately. The only thing I have been filming is a reading vlog, which is nearly finished, so it should be up shortly after this one. Yeah, I don't know when this video that I'm filming right now will be up, but sometime within the first week of February. I don't know when you're watching this. But yeah, I wrote down like a little, I just made like a flashcard, and I wrote down the names of all of the books that I really want to read this year. Like books that I look at and I'm like, oh my God, I need to read that like immediately. I need to read that this year, or I'm going to be so mad with myself. So the majority of these books I own. There is some that I included that I don't own right now, but I'm planning on buying at some point in the year. I'm reading them this year also. So there is a couple of them that I don't own. Now, as with most of these kind of videos, I'm not planning to read every single book on this list. It's kind of setting options for myself for books that I can read this year. And although I am using my TBR jar this year a lot as well, well, they might come out of there, obviously, some of the books on this list, but I will also try to integrate them into TBRs if I feel like it's not working out, maybe. Or I might include one of these books with each month's TBR, or if there's a readathon, I'll try to include these books. That kind of thing. So I'm going to talk about all of the books that I put together for this list. As I said, some I own, some I don't, but we're going to be talking about all of them, so let's get right into it. So the first book that I have here is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This, as far as I know, follows a girl who wants to be a chef. Elizabeth Acevedo is an author that I have wanted to get into for quite some time. She is also an author of colour, and I am making sure this year to read more books by authors of colour. I feel like my reading isn't as diverse as it could be, and I'm going to try make a change to that this year. But nonetheless, I'm very excited to read this. I know that some of her books are written in verse, but this one isn't, so it's why I picked up this one first and want to start with this. But first of all, can we talk about the cover for this, because it's literally stunning. Like, look at this cover. Absolutely stunning. Like, even the inside. Absolutely stunning. Like, probably one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful cover I have seen for a book in my entire life. But with all of these books, I will be reading the synopsis, so we're going to do that right now with this. Emoni wants to be a chef more than anything, but having a 2-year-old daughter and being 17 and still at school isn't exactly making life easy. The one place she can let everything go is in the kitchen, where she has magical hands, whipping up extraordinary food beloved by everyone from her grandmother to her best friend Angelica. Emoni knows, though, that there are rules she has to play by, and yet, once she gets cooking, her passion to feed will nourish her soul and dreams too. With the fire on high, anything is possible. So that is this. Very excited about that. And then the next two books that I have here, they're both like by the same author, which is why I don't know, I'm just going to hold them up at the same time. So we have The Upside of Unrequited and Leah on the Offbeat. These are both by Becky Albertalli. Becky Albertalli wrote my favourite book of all time that I read last year for Pride Month, which was Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, or Love Simon, whichever you want to call it. So, of course, after obsessing over that for God knows how long, like ages now, I went up and picked up some of her other books. This is not all of the books that she's written, but these are the other two most well-known books by her. So I went and I picked these up. This one actually comes secondhand, I believe. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to read the both of these, especially Leah and the Offbeat, because Leah was one of my favorite characters from Simon, like the supporting characters. Obviously, Simon is my favorite. But from like his friend group, Leah is definitely like my favorite other character. So I think that it's so lovely that she got like a whole novel of her own. And I will be delighted to read this and find out more about her, because she was a character I really wanted to learn more about when I read Love, Simon. But let me just read the synopsis for both of these really quickly. So first we have The Upside of Unrequited. Molly Peskin-Suso knows all about unrequited love. No matter how many times her twin sister Cassie tells her to woman up, Molly is always careful. Better to be careful than be hurt. But when Cassie gets a new girlfriend who comes with a cute hipster boy's sidekick, everything changes. Will is funny, flirtatious, and basically the perfect first boyfriend. There's only one problem. Molly's co-worker Reed, the awkward Tolkien superfan she could never fall for, right? So there is The Upside of Unrequited, and then we have Leah on the Offbeat. When it comes to drumming, Leah Burke is usually right on the beat, but real life is a little harder to manage. She loves to draw but is too self-conscious to show it. And she hasn't mustered the courage to tell her friend she's bisexual, not even her openly gay BFF Simon. So Leah really doesn't know what to do when her rock-solid friendship group starts to fracture. With prom and college on the horizon, tensions are running high, and it's hard for Leah when the people she loves are fighting, especially when she realizes she might love one of them more than she ever intended. So there you go. Very excited about the both of them. And then the next one that I have, it's kind of obvious that I included this when you see my new reading vlog. City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This is, of course, the second book in the Mortal Instruments series, which is just hugely popular. And I finally read City of Bones. I started in November, like ages ago, and I found another slump then, and I did finish it in January. So I need to continue the series. I need to learn what's gonna happen next. But it just says on the back here, haunted by her past, Clary is dragged deeper into New York City's terrifying underworld of demons and shadow hunters. But can she control her feelings for a boy who can never be hers? So yeah, I'm very, very excited to continue this series. Obviously, I would hope to get to this soon. It isn't the TBR jar, so maybe fate will pick it out for me. Who knows? Anyway. And then I have P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. This is, of course, the second book in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series. I read To All the Boys I've Loved Before last year for the Reading Rush. And, you know, I honestly don't know why I haven't read the second book yet. Like, it's atrocious that I haven't continued the series, especially after the way that the first book ended. I'm not going to read the synopsis for this one because, obviously, spoilers for the first book. And if anybody hasn't read that, I don't want to spoil anybody. But yeah, I need to read this. I might just do a reading vlog for this book or something. Or maybe I'll read this and Always and Forever Laura Jean Scatter. Who knows? I really, 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 really need to read this one, which is why it is on this list. So the next book is a book that I actually think I put on like one or two TBRs last year, and I just never read it for some reason. And I don't even know why, because I was so excited when I finally got my hands on this book, and I still haven't read it. Like, what is wrong with me? I buy books and I'm so excited about it, and I'm like, oh my god, I've been waiting to buy that for ages, I'm gonna read it immediately, and then I just don't read it for like a year. Like, I do not know how my brain works. But anyway, the book that I'm talking about is Me by Elton John. Obviously, this is Elton John's autobiography, and listen, I love Elton John, I love his music. Honestly, one of the kings of music. Just literally so iconic. I love this cover as well. Yeah, so I really need to read this and just read about his life story and find out more about him and, you know, the things he's done and his music and stuff like that. But basically, there's no synopsis on the back of this. It just says the great thing about rock and roll is that someone like me can be a star, which is so lovely. There is the back of it, as you can see. There he is performing at a concert, I suppose. But yeah, definitely need to read this one. This book is probably the heaviest one I own as well. You'd think like the really heavy, like long paperbacks would be. But I don't know, this book is just very big and heavy and cost me a lot of money too. But anyway, moving on from that, we have Salem's Lot by Stephen King, or Salem's Lot, Salem's Lot. I'm going to call it Salem's Lot. So I read my first ever King book 2 years ago, which was Carrie. And I absolutely love Carrie. I thought it was very scary, very powerful, and like, I don't know, just the way it talked about like the things bullying can do. Obviously, bullying, I don't think bullying would usually lead somebody going crazy and, you know, setting places on fire and killing people. But yeah, it really stood out to me as a really good book. And so I went and I picked up some more of Stephen King's books, and I really need to read more of his. I think the reason I've been so turned off of continuing, because I do want to read all of his books, this is obviously the next one, is because this is longer than the books I'm used to. I think this is around 800 pages, which is a lot of reading. I do read a lot, but most of the books I read are kind of from around 200 pages to like 400, 500 at the longest. So even though I own quite a few long books, I just tend to stay away from them when I'm picking TBRs, when I'm doing stuff like that, because they take ages. Like, sometimes these kind of books can even take months to read. They're just, you know, that long. But nonetheless, I do really want to read this. So I'm just going to read the synopsis right now. So this is very heavy as well, actually. Turn off the television. In fact, why don't you turn off all the lights except for the one over your favorite chair? And we'll talk about vampires here in the dim. I think I can make you believe in them. Salem's Lot is a small New England town with the usual quota of gossips, weirdos, and respectable folk. Of course, there are tales of strange happenings, but no more than in any other town its size. Ben Mears, a moderately successful writer, returns to the lot to write a novel based on his early years and to exorcise the terrors that have haunted him since childhood. The event he witnessed was in the house now rented by a new resident, a man who causes Ben some unease as things start to happen. A child disappears, a dog is brutally killed, nothing that unusual, except the list starts to grow. Soon surprise will turn to bewilderment, bewilderment to confusion, and finally to terror. So yeah, very well known vampire novel. I believe there was also a movie of this, I think. I've seen like clips and memes and things from it because it's quite well known. But there you go. That is that. So next I have like two books that are the next ones in a series. So first up we have Scuddlery Pleasant Deathbringer. This is the sixth book in the Scuddlery Pleasant series by Derek Landy, which is obviously very popular over here, especially in Ireland, because Derek Landy is Irish, and also in the UK, I think. but I never hear talk of this from like US book influencers or anything like that. So I don't know if it's that popular over there or if it's even heard of. But I'm really enjoying this series so far. I have read the first 5 books. I literally think it's taken me years to read them. I think I've literally read like one a year. So yeah, anyway, either way, I need to get on this one this year because I read Mortal Coil, which is the 5th book for the reading rush last year. So I definitely need to continue this because I'm absolutely loving this series. I love skullduggery, I love Valkyrie, I love the action, I love some of the fantasy and kind of spooky elements in there too. It's just a whole bundle of joy and I love it very much. So I'm not going to read the synopsis for this one either because spoilers for the first 5 books and we don't want to do that. But very excited about that one. And then I have Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, obviously the 2nd book in the Throne of Glass series. I read The Assassin's Blade and The Throne of Glass last year. I read Throne of Glass in October, I think it was, for the Nancy Drew readathon. But yeah, very, very excited to move on to this. Also, another lovely, beautiful cover. I love this cover so much. Again, will I read the synopsis for this? I think I will, because it's not too spoilery. Right, Selena Sarderson, royal assassin, is the king of Ireland's deadliest weapon. She must win her freedom through his enemy's blood. So it's talking about the king. But she cannot bear to kill for the crown. And every debt Selena fakes, every lie she tells, puts those she loves at risk. Torn between her 2 protectors, a captain and a prince, and battling a dark force far greater than the king, Selena must decide what she will fight for. Her liberty, her heart, or the fate of a kingdom. So excited about this one as well, and I definitely will be reading this one this year. So the next book is probably the longest one I have on the list. But I decided to kind of try and tackle my fear of big books this year, and this one's going to be the one to do it. I am planning on doing a whole reading vlog for this book because it will take up a lot of time. But it is one that I'm very, very excited about and I've heard lots of great things about, and I think I'm finally going to do it this year, guys, because I've owned this one for quite a while. I think I'm finally going to read it. It is the gigantic Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I love the movie Gone with the Wind, but I have not read the book, and it's been quite a while since I last watched the movie anyways. This is why I haven't read this book yet. Look how long that is. Actually, I'm going to see exactly how long it is because... Okay, so this book, ready to hear this, is 984 pages long. Which is so intimidating to me, and even though I love the movie Gone with the Wind and I'm so excited to read this, I just keep getting thrown off reading it because it's so long and the font is so small as well. Like, I literally feel like this book would take me like a whole year to read. I'm not even joking. So I want to read it this year, or at least start it this year, because I've just been putting it off for too long. I'm gonna do it. Guys, I'm gonna do it. Let me know if you want a reading vlog for this, because I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I do not care if it doesn't come up on ITVRs, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm so determined to read this at some point this year. And if 2021 comes to close at the end of the year without Gone with the Wind being read, I'm not going to be very happy with myself. But anyway, moving on from that, we have Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, a book I kept saying I was going to read last year. Was tempted to put on several TBRs and I just didn't. But yeah, very, very excited to read this one. Also, it is a romance novel and it's a series as well. So if I like this, I might try the other books because I do have all of them. I was gifted these last year by my auntie and I still haven't read them. So I'm gonna read the synopsis now. Lou Clark knows lots of things. She knows how many footsteps there are between the bus stop and home. She knows she likes working in the butter bun tea shop, and she knows she might not love her boyfriend Patrick. What Lou doesn't know is she's about to lose her job, or that knowing what's coming is what keeps her sane. Will Traynor knows his motorcycle accident took away his desire to live. He knows everything feels very small and rather joyless now, and he knows exactly how he's going to put stops to that. What Will doesn't know is that Lou is about to burst into his world in a riot of colour, and neither of them knows they're going to change the other for all time. So there you go. I'm finally going to read this book this year. I'm very excited to, and yeah, that's what I have to say about that one. Alright, so the next three books are the last of the ones that I own, and then I will be moving on. I'll just pull up covers and synopsises on my laptop, but I will move on to the books that I don't own that I want to read this year. So I need to purchase them first before I can read them. Once again, I'm not planning to read every single book on this list. It's just setting myself options for ones I really, really want to read. But anyway, the first one that I have here is Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters by Riordan. This is the second book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I read The Lightning Thief last year and I really, really loved it. And yeah, I've just been meaning to continue the series since. So let me just read this synopsis. It's not easy being a half-blood these days. Even a simple game of dodgeball can turn into a deathmatch against an ugly gang of cannibal giants. And that's just the beginning. Now Camp Half-Blood is under attack, and unless I being Percy, can get my hands on the Golden Fleece, the whole camp will be invaded by monsters. Big ones. So there you go. Very excited to read this. I would like to read all of the Percy Jackson books before the Disney Plus series come out so I can watch that. But we'll see. I don't know when that's coming out, but I'll just keep reading them anyway. And then the next one I have is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is a very popular Irish book, and there is also a TV series of this as well that was on, I think it was on RTE and BBC, but I think, I don't know which one it was on first, but I just remember it being on RTE. Yeah, so Normal People, very excited to read this. As far as I know, it's an Irish romance novel, and I've just heard so many great things about this. I think it's kind of a coming-of-age novel as well, which is really nice. So yeah, just very, very excited to read this. I only picked this one up recently, but there you go. So it just says on the back here, Connell and Marianne grow up in the same small town in the west of Ireland, but the similarities end there. In school, Connell is popular and well-liked, while Marianne is a loner. But when the two strike up a conversation, awkward but electrifying, something life-changing begins. Normal People is a story of mutual fascination, friendship, and love. It takes us from that first conversation to the years beyond, to the in the company of two people who try to stay apart, but find they can't. So there is that one. And then the last one of the ones that I own is Over the Top by Jonathan Van Ness. This is Jonathan Van Ness's autobiography. They are from Queer Eye on Netflix, which is where you may know them from. But I'm just really, really excited to read their autobiography because I love Jonathan so much. They're just amazing. Literally one of my favorite celebrities. So I'm going to just read the back here. Okay, sorry. The truth is, it hasn't always been gorgeous for this beacon of positivity and joy. Before they stole our hearts as the grooming and self-care expert on Netflix's hit show Queer Eye, Jonathan was growing up in a small Midwestern town that didn't understand why they were so over the top. From choreographed carpet figure skating routines to the unavoidable fact that they were just so gay, Jonathan was an easy target and endured years of judgment, ridicule, and trauma, yet none of it crushed their uniquely effervescent spirits. Over the Top uncovers the pain and passion it took to become the model of self-love and acceptance that Jonathan is today. In this revelatory, raw, and rambunctious, that's a new word, memoir, Jonathan shares never before told secrets and revealed sides of themselves that the public has never seen. JVN fans may think they know the man behind the stiletto heels, crop tops, and iconic sayings, but there's much more to them than meets the queer eye. You'll laugh, cry, and come away knowing that no matter how broken or lost you may be, you're a Kelly Clarkson song. You're strong and you've got this. So very, very excited to read this when I finally do. So now I'm going to switch over to my laptop and talk about just the last few books, which are ones I don't own currently, but I am going to buy. Okay, so the first one that I have here, these are books that I obviously don't own right now, but I'm planning on purchasing and reading this year. The first one I have here, I don't know if you can see that, but it is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. So I heard about this through Irish Reader. My favourite booktuber, Kevin from Irish Reader, go subscribe and watch his videos if you aren't subscribed to him already. But yeah, he I think he did 2 videos about this book, but he really, really loved it, and I think it was his favourite book of last year, and it just sounds so amazing to me. It's also written in verse, which might be interesting to see how I find a book written completely like a poem. So yeah, I really, really want to read this one. I'm going to read the Goodreads synopsis. So it just says, a boy comes to terms with his identity as a mixed-race gay teen. Then at university, he finds his wings as a drag artist, the Black Flamingo. A bold story about the power of embracing your uniqueness. Sometimes we need to take charge, to stand up wearing pink feathers, to show ourselves to the world in bold colour. There is that one. So the next one is The Duke and I. I don't know if you can see that, but this is by Julia Quinn, and it is the first book in the Bridgerton family series. So obviously Bridgerton, the TV show, came out on Netflix in December, and it blew up. I believe it is the most popular show on Netflix ever. I haven't watched the whole series, like the whole way through. I've seen bits and pieces and clips and some of the soundtrack as well, because I know they made like modern day songs sound classical. But it's just been on in the background because my mum and dad, I think, watched all of it. So they've kind of had it on in the background, and I sometimes, like when I'm sitting reading or whatever, I do kind of, you know, keep an ear to it and kind of look at it a bit. And so I've seen like little bits and pieces, but I'm waiting to watch the whole series like myself when I read the books, because I just want to read the books first. It's usually the way I tend to do things, but I am very, very excited to read this because I've heard the book series is really good too. So I've high expectations. And yes, the Goodreads synopsis here just says, in the ballrooms and drawing rooms of Regency London, rules abound. From their earliest days, children of aristocrats learn how to address an earl and curtsy before a prince, while other dictates of the time are unspoken yet universally understood. A proper duke should be imperious and aloof. A young marriageable lady should be amiable, but not too amiable. Daphne Bridgerton has always failed at the letter. The fourth of 8 siblings in her close-knit family, she has formed friendships with the most eligible young men in London. Everyone likes Daphne for her kindness and wit, but no one truly desires her. She is simply too juiced honest for that, too unwilling to play the romantic games that captivate gentlemen. Amiability is not a characteristic shared by Simon Basset, Duke of Hastings. Recently returned to England from abroad, he intends to shun both marriage and society, just as his callous father shunned Simon throughout his painful childhood. Yet an encounter with his best friend's sister offers another option. If Daphne agrees to a fake courtship, Simon can deter the mamas who parade their daughters before him. Daphne, meanwhile, will see her prospects and her reputation soar. The plan works like a charm at first, but amid the glittering, gossipy, cutthroat world of London's elite, there is only one certainty: love ignores every rule. Okay, so the next one is The Starless Sea. Here it is right there, if you can see that. I don't know, it looks kind of a bit blurred to me, but anyway. This is by Erin Morgenstern. Obviously, she wrote The Night Circus, which I read in January, and it is now my second favourite book of all time. I love The Night Circus so much. I cannot, describe in one sentence how much I love that book. So I definitely want to read her other book and see how it compares to The Night Circus, and if I like it. I don't. It's very, 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 very unlikely that I will like it more than The Night Circus, because that just holds such a special place in my heart. But I'm hoping I will enjoy it, and I've heard this one is really, really good. So I'm just going to read the Goodread synopsis. Far beneath the earth's Far beneath the surface of the earth, upon the shores of the starless sea, there is a labyrinthine collection of tunnels and zooms filled with stories. The entryways that lead to this sanctuary are often hidden, sometimes in forest floors, sometimes in private homes, sometimes in plain sight. But those who seek will find. Their doors have been waiting for them. Zachary Ezra Rollins is searching for his door, though he does not know it. He follows a silent siren's song, an inexplicable knowledge that he is meant for another place. When he discovers a mysterious book in the stacks of his campus library, he begins to read, entranced by the tales of lovelorn prisoners, lost cities, and nameless acolytes. Suddenly, a turn of the page brings Zachary to a story from his own childhood, and possibly written in this book that is older than he is. So there you go. Alright, so the next one is the first volume in a manga series that I really want to start this year, because I have been reading Death Note, which I will try to continue this year as well. It's just as an emphasis because I really, really want to read this one. So this is Tokyo Ghoul Volume 1. Tokyo Ghoul is obviously a very, very popular manga series that I really want to read, because I'm loving Death Notes and I want to get into manga more. So it just says for the synopsis on this one, Shy Ken Kaneki is thrilled to go on a date with the beautiful Rise, but it turns out that she's only interested in his body. Eating it, that is. When a morally questionable rescue transforms him into the first half-human, half-ghoul hybrid, Ken is drawn into the dark and violent world of ghouls, which exists alongside our own. So there is that. And then the other one that I have here as well is just another graphic novel. This is the last one that I have that I'm going to talk about, and it is Heartstopper, Volume 1, if you can see that there, by Alice Oseman. I wanted to start this graphic novel series for ages. I went to go buy it actually when I was in a bookshop before everywhere closed back in Christmas. So, but they only have Volume 2 and Volume 3. So mad because I really wanted them to have the first volume, but they didn't. But anyway, it just says here for the synopsis: Charlie, a highly strung, openly gay overthinker, and Nick, a cheerful, soft-hearted rugby player, meet at a British all-boys grammar school. Friendships bloom quickly, but could there be something more? Charlie Spring is in year 10 at Troom Grammar School for boys. The past year hasn't been too great, but at least he's not being bullied anymore. Nick Nelson is in the year 11 and on the school rugby team. He's heard a little about Charlie, the kid who was outed last year and bullied for a few months, but he's never had the opportunity to talk to him. They quickly become friends, and soon Charlie is falling hard for Nick, even though he doesn't think he has a chance. But love works in surprising ways, and sometimes good things are waiting just around the corner. So that is that. that actually concludes my list, guys. Yeah, that is just a list of books I would love to get to this year or next year. Just, yeah, setting options for myself. So I will come back to this video every now and then when I'm trying to plan TBRs and things like that. So yeah, that is that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to be trying to post a few videos. I do have some coming because there's stuff coming up, and I need to film my February TBR video as well because we're already a few days into February. So yeah, look out for all of that stuff. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye everyone.